I just read Your Faith is Your Fortune by Neville Goddard, and honestly my mind is like spinning in the best way. The idea that every single thing I experience is just a state of consciousness and that I can step out of one and into another is blowing me up inside. Like before, I used to think I am sick, I need to heal, but Neville says nah, that's just an old state, and you don't fix a state, you leave it, you walk out and assume a new one. So lately I've been living in the state of already healthy, already whole, already strong, and I swear I can feel it in my body. My energy feels lighter, my mood is smoother, even food tastes better. Faith really is your fortune, because whatever you accept as true in imagination shows up out here in the world. And yeah, sometimes the old state tries to creep in, but when it does, I'm like, nope, that's not me anymore, I don't live there. Anyone else been playing with this specifically for health? I'm curious how you keep the new state alive when the old one starts knocking. This was around a year ago now, but I always just thought it was a lucky coincidence, and so that's why I've never thought to post about it or even consider it a success story, but it's kind of one of my only notable manifestations that has happened to me, so I guess I'll share it in case. Last year I had just broken up with my ex. We are now back together, and some part of me thinks I maybe unconsciously manifested that he'll always come back to me, and I had always been so upset and jealous of others because I didn't think I had any proper close friends or best friends. I had two, but they are kind of rude to others, so I just wanted a best friend for myself that was more like me, kind, and super close. I remember the day of the breakup I felt like crap, and at night I decided to post a close friend's Instagram note putting two girls on it that I wanted to become my close friends so they could see it and reply. The note was something stupid like, how do I get over a breakup? And I slept saying to myself those two specific girls will reply, and imagined it as well for a bit, but I didn't try hard enough at all and gave up and went to sleep, so I genuinely didn't think I was going to manifest anything properly. But then, the next day, the first girl replies and we have the longest conversation ever, and we continue talking for hours, and she tells me she's always wanted to be my friend for so long because we had played games before in a group and talked, but after the school holidays we never ended up playing or speaking again. But then I hear she's been wanting to be close to me the same way I had thought about her, and she was gushing about the fact she even got to speak to me. Then a while later the second girl responds and we also have a conversation, and this one had also replied to one of my previous notes, but I didn't go any further than a simple response, so we didn't end up becoming friends, but this time we actually talked for so long. Fast forward to now, about 1.5 years later, these two girls consider me their best friends, and they were the ones mentioning that first and trying to become closer actively, not me, which is literally what I had been wanting for so long. Genuine best friends who consider me their best friend and have the same personality and interests, and I got it somehow without even any proper techniques or anything. I simply assumed we'd become friends by them replying to my note, but I didn't think much of it at all at the time. Either way, I'm grateful because now I have plenty of great friends. I'm 21 years old and I recently graduated from community college back in May, and I'm transferring to a 4-year university the fall semester. As a result, I planned a solo trip to Spain followed by a fully sponsored trip to China for a study abroad program. From January to June, I had a steady part-time job which I really loved. However, they did not allow vacations to be more than 30 days. Thus, I decided to quit the day before my flight to Spain. I really needed that vacation. I literally quit without a backup plan. As much as I loved the job, my heart longed for this solo trip adventure and visit these two countries. You already have a sense of how I viewed money with this kind of mindset. Before my trip, I cashed out all my money from my high-yield savings account and stocks. Combined that with my savings, I probably had a total of $5,000 to my name. Nonetheless, I remained confident that money would come back to me. During this time, a friend invited me to her party in LA. Without hesitation, I agreed and bought a ticket despite not having a job or any backup plans as a source of income. I didn't know if I'll have a job by the time of her birthday or if I'll even have money by that time. I just did it anyway because I felt abundant. Visiting Spain cost me so much that I didn't even bother checking the total cost I spent in the entirety of my trip, 1 week. When I went to China, I spent so much money shopping and eating out without any regards to how much I'm losing day to day. To compensate for my expenses, I decided to stay in hostels when I visited other cities outside of my school. When I came back to the USA, my total net worth was probably around $2,000. I spent $1,000 just to pay all my bills for the last month I was gone. I didn't have a job, but I remained confident that money would come. Despite my social economic status as a member of a working lower middle class family, I only applied to 5 jobs the following month when I arrived back from my trip. I hated the idea of having a job because I've been so tired of it already. I also spent the remaining $1,000 living like a regular 21-year-old with a steady income. I had dinners with my friends, went out to a club, went for cocktails, and lived normally without feeling guilty for all my spending. Towards the end of August, school has already started and I still live at home. My bills for the month of August were due and my parents are worried that I will not have enough money since I spent it all on my trip. They were right. And we live paycheck to paycheck. My savings account was literally $100 and checking account was 2 figures. I was literally worth less than Apple Watch. But lo and behold, a miracle happened. The scholarship I'd been waiting for arrived at the right time. Just before the month ended, my bank account was worth more than what I had before my trip to Spain. I felt so blessed. A few days later, another scholarship that I applied to in early summer was awarded to me. Followed by another and another. Not only have I paid my bills on time, I also have enough money to focus on university without working for the next 7 months. How did I do it? I remained consistent with this belief, despite the physical evidence. I meditated and became grateful for abundance. Spent money knowing it'll come back. Lived normally and lived as if. Remember that you are the creator. Disclaimer, I don't expect you to have the same beliefs as me, especially since we have different economical situations. It was easy for me to detach because I lived with my parents and also a full-time student. However, I'm just sharing my success stories to those who want to hear more about financial success. I also saw a lot of signs, especially 888, that made me even more confident that money is mine despite my lack. Happy manifesting! Now I'm a believer. It took me like 2 to 3 days to manifest a few things, and now I understand how powerful my mind is. I've listed my manifestations and the methods I've used. Things I've manifested. 1. Money, in multiple ways. I received a refund confirmation of more than $400, which I wasn't expecting at all. I had given up on getting it months ago. Also, I received unexpected money from my freelance work, which is also a rare thing in my life. My articles are showing a positive trend for the last few days and are getting a lot of views and reads. I'm earning a lot from these on the daily. Note, I have been struggling to receive money like this for almost 2 years now. I have been in a very bad situation financially. I also woke up today and saw a text from my bank showing a deposit for one of my freelance work. I usually get it during the last week of every month. But surprisingly, I received it way sooner this month. 2. A writing offer out of nowhere. Someone read my articles and offered me a role. I didn't even apply for it. 3. I heard some news regarding the politics in my home country yesterday. What I've heard wasn't supposed to happen at all. It's like something changed overnight to grant my wish. My methods for manifestation. 1. Affirmations or robotic affirmations. I made a couple of recordings on the Parrot app using my own voice. There are over 100 different affirmations, in the present or past tense, to imply that I've already gotten my desires. I listen to these recordings whenever I feel like during the day or at night while I'm sleeping. During the day, I either listen to these like background music when I'm busy or I affirm in my head simultaneously while listening to the recordings when I'm free. I have an I don't give a f attitude towards these. I'm like I don't care if I get these or not. I will be fine either way. Also, I think the fact that I have more than 100 affirmations have helped me detach a lot. 2. Monitoring my thoughts throughout the day and switching unwanted ones to desired ones. And again I affirm these in the present or past tense to imply it has already been manifested. And my go-to general affirmations are: I am the God. I create my reality. I can manifest anything I want. Life is a lucid dream. This is like a video game. All I have to do is play and have fun with it. I repeat these whenever I start having doubts. It also helps me calm down, and something in me tells me that I have nothing to worry about. How I see this whole conscious manifestation concept is that it's all about being aware of what you want to manifest. We have thousands of thoughts running inside our head throughout the day. Most of these are negative, unwanted, things from the past, or worries about the future. If we can monitor every single thought and switch it to positive ones or to something that we desire, we can manifest things into our life. This might take some practice for some people, but once you reach that point where you get into the habit of having only positive thoughts during the day, your life's gonna change. Our thoughts create our reality. Period. I have been searching for a job for over a year now. Even though my resume had everything that is required for my job domain, I was getting no response from anywhere. Many personal issues happened that put me to the lowest a month ago. I cried my eyes out one night and decided to give it one last shot. What followed in the coming weeks was not expected. What happened? I gave up and accepted what was in front of my eyes. I let go of this desperation inside of me. But I also accepted truly that my imagination is also the very same reality. It's the same thing. There's no separation. I had nothing to lose, so I decided to stick with it. I decided to choose this time rather than changing. First week, I didn't feel a single emotion in my end scene during SATs or just visualizing throughout my day. I was bored by the end of the week. Did I quit? Nope. I reminded myself that I have already experienced it in my imagination, which is the very same reality. So it's true now. I reminded myself of this fact every single time anything popped up in my mind. Not forcefully, but with the understanding that my imagination is my reality. There was nothing to change here for me, only to choose what I wish to experience in my imagination and trust it. A recruiter called me up out of the blue from a posting that I applied to many months ago. Gave 3 rounds of interview, including one with the co-founder. I decided that he will be blown away by my perfection, and indeed that happened. Was I scared throughout the interview process? Yes. I was scared to death before the interviews, but again I reminded myself that no matter what you're feeling, it's absolutely okay. You have already experienced the end. No need to give a shit to this doubt. And by the end I truly stopped caring whether or not I got the job. I was content with my imagination. Got the call today. I got the job. With every single thing that I wanted out of it, even though the interviewer didn't mention any of these details. The job is remote. Dream salary as well. Exactly the position I wanted. All of this, believe it or not, I lived it in my imagination. Every single thing about this job. But when I got the call, I didn't feel a single thing. Even now I am not ultra excited or anything like that. Everyone around me is, but I am not. It's just a calm feeling. I gave enough of it in my imagination that this was absolutely expected for me. So it's just a happy, calm feeling. This is it, guys. Read Neville and understand him. If you can't understand his jargon, then I would suggest reading Edward Art's posts or his videos, as he also boils down Neville. But my go-to will always be Neville's books and his lectures. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it. My manifestation was to win at table tennis. I won every game. I could not stand winning any longer. I gave up, and I finally lost. There was too much winning, and my cup was full. I thought about this later. Then I had an epiphany as to why we are here. We are here because, as Neville says, we need things to be hard, in order to be able to experience and appreciate the glory of God. This gift that we've been given, the gift of God, in you, the I Am presence, the imagination, is an amazing thing. All of the great poets, writers, scientists, engineers, inventors, etc., have spoken of it in plain language, or spoken of it in eloquent prose. We have come here to experience the glory of God. We are creators and we need to experience our creation to be able to appreciate it, that is to say, as you know, we create in the imagination, and the 3D world transforms so we have our proof. Some manifestations take longer than others. This teaching of Neville is a high, beautiful teaching, and Neville has actually experienced that which he speaks about, as in the talk, God in Me. He has gone to the astral, cosmic, heavenly realms and he has heard the truth, and it is his gift that you now have it. So I thank God for Neville and Abdullah, and for Louise Cowley. When I was young, I had a vision of the New Testament being added on to about my life. But after 43 years, from reading and listening to Neville's teaching, I've learned that the New Testament is about everybody's life, not just mine or the life of Jesus. The identity that you assume, consciously, of unconsciously shapes your reality. So be slow to anger, and abundant in your praise, but only if it is something that would be pleasing to you from the other person. Like, if it would make you happy, then you can spread your light to another person. I never felt chosen in my life. Never. It started in childhood. My mom always wanted a boy, and she made it clear. My brother was the golden child, and I was just me. While she was at work, my father abused me and my siblings. My youngest brother was spared because he was the favorite. My mother had been abused herself, so the cycle repeated. She finally cut him off when I turned 18, but by then, the damage was done. My self-concept was already destroyed. I believed I wasn't good enough. That I wasn't worth protecting. That other people had power over me and I was only worth my body. That belief carried into everything. I developed social anxiety, depression, agoraphobia, OCD-like symptoms. I became a shell of myself. Life reflected that back, no quality friendships, terrible dates, being overlooked for jobs. And then, I found the law. Not overnight, first The Secret, then Joseph Murphy, then Neville Goddard. For the first time I felt like maybe I could control my life. But I was terrified. I grew up in a religious home where I was told suffering was holy, God was always in control, and you only get happiness in heaven. I resisted, I feared punishment. But persistence and posts I read on this subreddit broke that fear. And here's what happened once I finally locked in and realized I was the power. Career. I was working night shift as a nursing assistant. My director of nursing told me to apply for a director of memory care position. I felt unqualified, but I applied anyway. 2 interviews later, I was told I had to wait, other applicants were strong. My mom said I probably wouldn't get it. I ignored her. Every night I affirmed, I'm the director of memory care. I imagined hearing the executive director congratulate me. A week later, I got the call. The position was mine. They even paid for me to become a certified dementia practitioner. Health, skin. I had terrible acne. So bad I hated mirrors, hated touching my face. I thought I'd need Accutane. I tried treatments, chemical peels, tretinoin, temporary results, but nothing permanent. One day, I decided, no more. I affirmed and imagined smooth skin. Within weeks, the bumps cleared. Now my face is clear. Friendships. I used to believe I wasn't likable. I stayed home, isolated. I affirmed instead, I have great friendships. Within months, I met quality people at work. Now I have friends who truly add to my life. Marriage. Before I met my husband, I used Neville's marriage technique. I imagined the exact ring I wanted, princess cut, carrot size, everything. I also visualized the man I wanted and even our kids. I'd go to sleep seeing it. A year later, I met him. Today, he's my husband. Birth. My first labor almost killed me. Hemorrhage, infection, medical errors. So when I got pregnant again, I was terrified. At 37 weeks I was induced. This time I locked in, I will have an easy, safe labor. I talked to my baby, visualized holding her in my arms. Facebook mocked me with trauma birth stories, but I persisted. Day of induction, I was 1 centimeter. They wanted to use a balloon catheter, painful, traumatic from my first labor. I refused, affirmed I'd dilate to 4 centimeters. Hours later, I was 4 centimeters without the balloon. Labor progressed fast. By the time they checked again, my daughter was crowning. On the next contraction, she literally slid out. No pushing. No tearing. Safe and easy. Social anxiety and agoraphobia. This was one of my deepest struggles. I avoided eating out because I was terrified of throwing up, emetophobia. I even kept it from my boyfriend, now husband. COVID gave me an excuse, but afterward I had to face it. I started visualizing myself confidently saying, "Let's go out to eat." I affirmed, "I'm confident. I'm safe." The first time was nerve-wracking. But I didn't throw up. Then I did it again. And again. Now I go out with no problem. That fear no longer runs my life. I'm sharing this because I want you to know, you can come back from anything. Your 3D will mock you. It will show you the opposite. But your 3D is nothing more than your old assumptions playing out. That's not a curse, that's your advantage. It means the second you change your self-concept, the 3D has no choice but to follow. Here's what worked for me: visualizing the end at night, sometimes during the day. Using an anchor affirmation when I spiraled. Taking inspired action when it showed up. That's it. No rituals. No waiting for permission. If you've been told your story makes you worthless, powerless, unchosen, I want you to know, you can rewrite it. Because I did. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. And the second you decide you're chosen, the world has no choice but to agree. I grew up abused, ignored, and unloved, developed the self-concept that I wasn't chosen. Life reflected that: no friends, bad relationships, jobs passing me over. Once I locked in with Neville's teachings, manifested dream job, director of memory care. Cleared severe acne. Created quality friendships. Got married. Had an easy, safe labor after a traumatic birth. Beat social anxiety, agoraphobia, and emetophobia. Key: visualized the end, used one anchor affirmation to pull me back when spiraling, persisted no matter what 3D showed. You can rewrite your self-concept. And when you do, life bends.